Welcome everybody. I'm Luke Skyy. I'd like to welcome y'all officially to the first episode of Thawt for Food. For those who might know me, Thawt for Food might seem like something familiar to you. It is actually the name of my first album that I put out in 2012. And I'll tell you why that's important. Thawt for Food was the album that projected me onto the Denver music scene, a scene in which I quickly grew to love and fell in love with. One I'm very appreciative for helping me grow my career, grow my fan base, and become part of the Denver music scene. So you know, we're now turning it into a new venture in which you know, we're trying to get back to the scene that has given me so much. So a little bit of backstory. Since Thawt for Food, I released a couple more projects, put out a new album. Those are out there. But we started, the biggest thing we started was a brand called Hybred Collective. A few friends of mine and I. And you know, so we're looking to do things to kind of get back to the community in which we are a part of. Hybrid Collective, our motto is high born, high mind, high power. Our mission, our goal, our mission statement is to connect hearts and minds to the power of music and entertainment, and to create a community of creatives intent on empowering individuals to reach new heights on their journey. So that's Hybrid Collective. So it got me to thinking, what can we do as a company to kind of lift up ourselves and lift up the scene in which we love so much, and re-enter the concept of what Thawt for Food was for me some 7-8 years ago. So whereas back in the day I was metaphorically bringing you Thawt for Food, now we are literally bringing you Thawt for Food in this new venture of ours. So what we're doing with this web series / podcast is we're taking creatives, movers and shakers, you know, whoever in Denver music or artists around the community, people out here making this city so bright and vibrant as it is, as I see every day. I want to take you out to have a conversation over lunch, dinner, coffee, you name it. Get at me, we definitely have that conversation. It's pretty simple. We come to a location like we're at Wynkoop Brewery today, and we have a conversation about our lives, about whatever. We're just trying to elevate the conversation a little bit, and you know, gain some more exposure to what Denver has to offer and what we have to offer Denver. So you know, the future is to keep growing this thing, to take this to other markets outside of the Denver area. You know, it's definitely something that's been in my heart, giving back to the community that's given me so much in return. And so yeah, I hope you like it. I got my friend Del Toro, the rest of the Hybrid Collective, NME, Cody Reed, Ceejay Franchize, all making things work to try to you know, shed some more light on how excellent we creatives are making the city here. I don't know if y'all see it, but I'm truly appreciative of everybody doing their work. I think we need to make bigger and better moves to make this city even more vibrant. I mean, I know y'all see it. I see it everywhere I go. If it's art on the walls, or my hip-hop community throwing down fire verses, or the ladies that are out there making incredible songs with their singing voices or doing their DJ thing, I see you guys. And I really want you to come out here and join me one of these days on a conversation so we can keep building and keep making this thing bigger and better. So what you can do to support Hybrid Collective, hit me up if you do want to be a part. We're looking for everybody. hybridco@gmail.com. The biggest thing you can do to support is share and get involved, get interested, become part of the conversation with us. You know, I respond to everybody who hits me up, so please hit me up. Let's have a conversation. And the other thing you can do to support, we started a Patreon page for people who have the money. I don't want to hit you up and ask you to support and donate. I know financial times are trying for a lot of people right now. So if you don't have it, don't donate. But share the music. But if you do have it, go to patreon.com, Hybrid Collective. Give us a little shout out. Sponsor the show. Sponsor the cause as we try to get back to the community that has given so much to us. So without further ado, I'd like to bring you into the show. Today's show took place, this conversation took place back in October with my friends NME and Ceejay Franchize. We were kind of doing it as a pilot episode to kind of work out the kinks, and my man Del Toro to kind of work out the kinks, figure out how we want to do this, keep growing. Everything's going to be super basic to begin, but we're like, fuck it, we're just going to do it. However it comes out, it comes out. And we'll keep growing from there. So our first conversation was blessed to be with my boys, Ceejay Franchize and NME. And I was blessed to have it at my place of employment, Wynkoop Brewery. what a fantastic place it is. I've worked here for almost 2 years. Everybody from the front of house, back of house, upper management, staff is incredible here. I love it. I love coming to work every day. Love being a part of this business. If you are interested in good beers and good brews, there's no better place to be than Wynkoop Billiards Brewing Company. We got a billiards hall upstairs, a lot of fun with the friends and everything. So definitely come check it out. It was opened in 1988 by the former governor, John Hickenlooper, him and a few of his friends. I think Russ was the name of the first brewer, the machine the guy was, I suppose. Just making beers that were creatively off the top. So what better place to start a creative venture than with a place that made such creative beers? You know, Denver loves its beers, I'll tell you that much. So 1988, it was the first brew pub in Denver. Back when Lodo's was this place was not much of anything, much of just a ghost town with just brick buildings around. There wasn't anything going on with the baseball field, but once that baseball field hit, once Union Station started getting popping, this place had been here kind of way before that, before this thing ever got going as real as it is now, and it is as live and vibrant as it's ever been, my friends. Please come check it out. Great food cooked up by the chef Brent. John, the new brewer that's been here for a long time, brewing up amazing beers. Again, wonderful staff. A lot of my friends work here. I love them to death. And it's just a good place to be. I would like y'all to come out and enjoy that with us and enjoy that time. Come see me because I still work here. I'll serve you up something nice. Otherwise, you know, I'm just going to lead you into the first episode with my friends Ceejay Franchize and NME. Again, this is the first episode of Thawt for Food. Please like, share, subscribe, do all that, and you have yourselves a wonderful day. Peace.
Unnecessary, just a little much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try to regulate everything.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of put some burdens on people's life. I mean, but again, some of it, like the stuff that's getting emitted into the air that's poisoning our environment and shit, like that's the kind of stuff that should definitely be regulated.
Chemtrails, bro.
Chemtrails are real.
Yo,
All
that
right.
shit is hella real.
Before
bro.
we go to
Man, you want to talk about
before we
chemtrails?
get into it, we've been talking for a minute now. This is the first episode of Thawt for Food. I am Luke Skyy. We are here at Wynkoop Brewery. Introduce you to my friends, my brothers from day one. My dude Ceejay Franchize, and my dude NME, Adrian. Welcome to the first episode. Cheers to you guys.
Cheers, my brother.
All right.
Cheers. Thank
So
you.
as
It's
you
good to
heard
be here.
in the intro, you know, we're just trying to do things to extend a platform to Denver artists, musicians, shakers and movers, trying to get this conversation going on a higher level. So I'm glad to have you guys here for this little test run. I appreciate it. Absolutely. No, thank you.
Pleasure being here.
Thank you. And thank you to my dude Aldo behind the scenes, Del
Aldo.
Toro. He's going to be
Del
my
Toro.
Word up,
executive
word up.
producer, making this thing happen. So here we are, guys. Like, you know, what's on your minds? How's the day been treating you so far? Let's start
man.
there.
My day.
It's a good day, man.
My dude Emmanuel Sanders is gone now. Obviously,
Emmanuel
you guys know
Sanders.
that.
Oh yeah, if you're watching
It's
this
very
today, he got
heartbreaking.
traded today.
You know?
But to the Niners, right? 49ers?
So he's gonna win a Super Bowl, hopefully, like he did here. You know?
Yeah, for
So,
sure. You never know. We'll keep. Denver fans are definitely some of the most hardcore fans I think we have.
Hey man, I don't care how
in
bad we
the
suck, man.
NFL.
I'm still riding.
Right. It's not a good season so far. I think we all know that. I think we all know that that Flacco, as good of a quarterback he is, you still need a good offensive line, and that's something the Broncos have not had in a long time now.
Can I say something that's probably problematic to a
Always.
Bronco
I would
fan?
love you to.
Always.
We need to get rid of John Elway.
I believe so as well. I think it's time to
Every
have a fire
decision
sale.
he has made has fucked us.
We're hail damage.
So-
Everything's got to go off the lot.
As many
it's
coaches
time
and
to
players have gone
restructure, you
through,
know?
we need to get him out of here.
Yeah.
Is
believe
that
so.
the answer? I mean, what
I
is
think
he
so.
doing that's so... it's fine. You don't have to keep looking at the camera either. We'll just keep the conversation over here. Just so you
look where
you
I
can look
look.
wherever you want.
I'm broadcasting 9 News right now.
Hello, camera. Yeah, as much as it is a web series, a conversation, you know what I mean? But as far as like John Elway being he is Denver for a lot of Broncos fans.
Absolutely. There's
And
no
like
question
to
he's a
even
legend.
talk about something like that, is probably considered tyranny to some people.
Like I said,
I mean,
highly problematic, but highly honest.
I get it.
And most likely accurate.
That's a conversation anybody can have, but yeah, so I guess put it out there.
You gotta have people ready for that
Here's
one.
the thing.
People are pissed about that, but it's true.
Here are the cold hard facts. Anybody he's drafted on offense sucked. Not all of them, but at least 90% of the players.
And that's his forte.
And he's had some great. Yeah, he can't identify quarterbacks other than himself in the mirror. That's the only quarterback he's ever recognized for his whole life. He got lucky with Peyton Manning because they casted him out of Indianapolis because he had a broken neck.
Didn't your mans bring on Tim Tebow and like back this fool like all the way around?
Who, Elway?
Yeah. Didn't they go all the way back to that? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he's necessarily like, I can't speak on what the relationship is in the back office and like how much he actually has a say in
He's got a say in
everybody.
everything.
I get it, but like at the same time, like you're also looking at the fact that Tebow, in as far as college was a proven commodity, so you're not taking too much of a risk. Your coach really wants him.
Get it.
It makes a lot of sense for a
college
franchise.
was his plateau.
Okay,
He
so
he had to
get
stop
it.
there.
I hear you.
Brock Osweiler.
Yeah, right.
Hey, he just retired.
There's,
Before 30.
right.
Good for the NFL.
He just
Man, I can't
retired.
even remember. We had a couple.
Simeon, again, we're talking about
Where's he at?
below the surface. All these quarterbacks are second string quarterbacks
Very
at best.
par.
And then fucking Flacco, like, what is it with these second chance quarterbacks?
Second
It's like, I feel like
chances,
he's
that's what
like,
it's been,
well,
second
because
chance,
I
second
feel like
strings.
he's like I feel like he's like vicariously living through them.
Well, because it worked for Peyton.
I'm gonna give them one more
That's
chance. They
why.
can do this
But
because
here's the thing:
because of Peyton
the
Manning.
rest of the league is getting younger at both the GM and the coaching staff. These great minds that we passed up, like Kyle Shanahan,
This
who's
is
now
why he
working
needs
with
to
John
go.
Lynch.
Wait for the
mean,
new
the
cast,
league is
the new
getting
thought, the
younger,
new thought process.
We're getting older.
How? I mean, you could say that, but still, Patriots is Brady's 42 now.
Okay,
Like,
You
that's
win
it.
when you
First
cheat,
of all,
bruh. When you out there taking videos of
They
people's
haven't
practices
cheated
and
in
shit.
years.
Satan does not
That's a content.
and that's who Bill Belichick
I mean,
is, and Tom Brady is.
Robert Kraft. I mean,
Tom Brady is
the
son of
whole organization. You think Kraft
He's
has
going Mickey or what?
Yeah, Kraft has a little, pentagram in his face. He'd be taking those
He
whores from the
sacrifices people and
yachts
shit,
yeah,
like
he'd
to
be taking
keep it going.
Those yacht whores down to his
They also
basement.
have the Illuminati back in them. They're gonna be okay.
I remember the Patriots were trash back in the day when they had the Patriot on the doing the
dudes
on the line.
They weren't like
Yeah.
trash. They said
They were
Bledsoe.
trash.
But like we were trashing on them.
They were trash.
No doubt.
That was back when the Houston Oilers
like
were a
Shannon
thing.
Sharp was called
When
president,
Warren
tell
Moon
the
was out
Patriots
there.
are getting killed, send the Coast Guard over there to the National Guard. Yeah.
Yeah, the golden era of football. The time
I feel like that was real. I feel like I enjoyed it more then. You know,
feel
like
like
when
you watched it
primetime
then.
Deion Sanders was out there like kicking his feet, like
You know what I think
rubbing it in
happened?
these fools' faces, like.
Yeah, as well as like a more soft in like the game's not gotten softer, but I think the thing about it is politics of anything kind of turns us off from just like the pure entertainment of it.
Yeah.
Like I still love football, and but I can also see how people are getting quite frustrated with, the direction it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm cool that like these men like have got to start taking care of themselves, because in the past it was definitely an issue. So it does. I mean, it might seem like a softer game, or maybe we're just thinking it's a softer game because some of the rules have changed to protect some of these players. But at the same time, I love the fact that we're doing that to give these men an opportunity to survive and live a life after the game.
Yeah, tell those men that we're doing wrong with the sport. When they're the ones whose lives,
Right.
the longevity of their health, I mean,
Right.
the concussion protocol, that's a real thing. I mean,
Yeah.
a memory loss, we're
Yeah.
talking about people who forget that they even went to high school, college. I mean, you're talking about family members who are waking up next to somebody who are thinking in 10 years from now, are they going to be them? Am I going to be taking care of them? Are they going to remember me one day when we wake up? Are they going to be there for their high school kid going to prom and in, health? Obviously, as a dad,
It's a thing. It's
That's
a
what
thing.
you will wanna
It
do.
definitely is.
Yeah.
I don't want to put my son in something that's going to give him CTE, even though I was in football from Pee Wee all the way through high school.
which is why you're halfway retired.
Right. Right. Problematic.
But that's like that's a real thing. Like I mean, you know, you guys are both parents. I mean, you know, think about, you know, we never considered when we were that age going through minor league systems or through high school systems, like what the damage could possibly be doing to us, because we weren't told of those things. So now that stuff has come to the surface, more and more parents are like, no, I'd rather not put my son
That's
in
also
harm's
a thing,
way.
obviously huge, you know.
Yeah, I'd rather not put my child in harm's way. And so there's a less and less player pools, but so the men that actually do make it to this level are the height of peak physique and wellness, and you know are willing to put their lives on the line for our entertainment.
Yeah.
I am very grateful for them for doing that, and I always wish that, you know, I always hope them the best in safety. And, you know, thank you for providing me such an entertaining game to watch. But please, like, if, you know, like Gronkowski did, if you get to a point where you know you're no longer feeling it and, like, you can't, you know, see yourself waking up the next day without pain, Andrew Luck,
Yeah,
the list grows more and more
Life
now.
beyond football should still peak
like,
at some point. Yeah.
and, like, the cats that are still pushing themselves, like Adrian Peterson, like, man, sometimes it's okay to back out. I mean,
he's a trooper, though.
He got bills.
I mean, that's
Obviously.
I mean, yo, tell me,
playing?
you think he wants to keep doing this shit?
Like, that's what it is.
It has to be like, my man, it's
He's
gotta be
got
tired.
legal bills.
He was out of the
With all
league for a
trouble
minute.
he's
Things
been
built
in.
up. Remember, he was after that whole allegation thing. He couldn't get a team for a minute.
Yeah.
So whatever he had, all the people he was taking care of, that shit stacked up.
Yeah,
You think
man.
that's what it is?
And now
bro?
he's
Insurance on a Ferrari can't be cheap, bro.
Nah.
You know?
Well,
life
I mean,
insurance,
how many
and
kids
you
is
gotta-
it? I mean,
I don't know how. I don't know.
a good amount of kids that you know, and so there's a responsibility thing to be tied here too, like, you know, that's obviously been passed down through generations, like, you know, a lot of the older NBA players with a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
That's you know, hopefully the new cats are learning you can't just be having a bunch of kids because this money ain't gonna last.
Well, I'm not learning nothing.
I mean,
You're definitely not.
I used to speak on the issue because I know both of y'all are in that.
So I'm doing it before I had the money, okay? That way I value it when it gets here.
Yeah.
And whenever that transpires, in
Yes.
my case particularly.
Right.
Okay, so this is before I forget, but I wanted to bring this up because I'm very curious, because it gets to me personally as a dad, right? So when do kids become such bitches? Like, they're super soft nowadays compared to, I feel like we grew up. And like, don't get me wrong, there's things that I did as a kid that I wouldn't want my kids to do. Like, I used to ride my bike all over the city.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way I'm letting my kids do that now, right? Like, and is it because the internet is at our fingertips and we can see the weirdness? Because I feel like the weirdness has always been there. Like, the weirdos have always...
It's more than that. I mean, it's health. It goes back to even football.
But that's what made me think about it.
Our generation is, hey, we can't let them play until they're 7, and even at that, you can't head, you know.
Yeah, like, I remember getting the wind knocked out, and my mom's like,
but
get
it
up,
starts
pussy.
with simple
You know what I
things
mean?
like that. It starts with things like that. It starts with censoring things. It starts with, first of all, that's your kids that you're talking about, so don't you ever ask me that question.
Yeah. No, but yeah, same question.
yeah.
Like, what is your thoughts? Are your kids?
Yeah.
Do they seem like a softer generation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Than what
It's the
we
pillow
were?
generation.
Yeah,
But what are their challenges?
These fools don't have challenges, bro.
Yeah, you think it's so? Then is that like a
I
nod?
come from a more masculine, generation, which obviously I hear that's wrong. So we're trying to correct something, and if it works, I guess we'll find out.
So that's what I'm thinking.
We'll find out.
That's what I'm thinking. Are we changing from more of a masculine society where it was all chest beating and like, you know, my, to where these kids now are sharing? So like as like a non-parent, like, you know, you look at what parents have always wanted to do over the course of generations is to make things easier on their kids so that they don't have. My mom always used to say, I just wanted to make it so easy on you so that you didn't have to struggle the way that I struggled. So is it at some point that we could say, damn, we kind of did a good job and pat ourselves on the back and like let these kids actually be soft because maybe that's what they deserve? Is it life easier from the life the rest of us have lived this whole time? Like, have we paved the way for like an easier generation?
I definitely see that.
I think in the bigger scope, it's because we haven't paved a bigger, or easier way for the generation now. We brought our world to a fucked up place. Every discrimination is derived from our past, right? And maybe not even just discrimination, but even our housing market. Hello, our planet, our house, our planet Earth that we live in. We have fucked her over.
For sure.
I mean, everything we've done up to this point,
so
there has to be changes.
Let me throw this at you
it.
guys real quick. Think about this. I guess this is another reason that made me think about it, because I never ever had to deal with this as a kid, like not even with friends or like, I don't recall any of this happening as a kid. But okay, so my daughter Morgan, you guys know Morgan, she did some shit at school, wrote some bullshit on a piece of paper, and like the teacher saw it and instantly called us and was like talking about suicide shit. And I'm like, wait, what?
See, we got that too.
And I'm like, what do you mean? Like she was just mad at something, and she just was writing shit out, making little devil faces, whatever. And I talked to her about it, and she was like, I was just mad, Dad. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. I'm like, okay. But now they're always worried about these kids hurting themselves or taking their lives with bullying and this and that and the third. Like, we had bullies growing up. Like, it wasn't nothing new. We had shit. You either got bullied, or you beat that bully's ass, or like stood up to him.
Right.
Or that's what happened all your life, right?
If your kid touches mine and my son tells your kid not to and yours still does, my kid can rock your shit. Sorry. My kid can rock your kid's shit. He has my permission. But again, it's at least they have to.
They won't though. That's the weird part. Is like these kids are so like timid. It's weird. And that's what I mean. Like, is this the pillow generation that we've raised and cultivated now, where everybody thinks they're gonna hurt themselves and end up on some kind of medication? Like,
we got that too.
I don't remember any of that shit as kids. Like, growing up with my kid, there was fucked up shit.
Yeah.
There's all kind of bullying, blatant racism shit. Like, but nobody ever was like, I'm gonna cut myself. Like, nah.
Yeah.
These fools went and did something. Like, they went and did
the more that it happened,
they put that energy somewhere else. Like, where did that disconnect come between then and now with these kids? Like,
what we're doing right now is a reactive state versus us preparing for the future. We're reacting to what has already happened in America, particularly in America. I know we've already had like 300 domestic shootings, like mass shootings this year already. It's probably even bigger by now. So we're reacting to what has made all of these other kids, messed up psychologically. So now we're doing reactive parenting versus we used to enforce proactive parenting. You would just assume that it happens, but then this happened over there, and where were the parents? So now it's kind of like on a bigger playing field.
I think that personally, just the way that our generation has come about, it was a little rough and tumble at times, and nothing has changed. I mean, the big thing that has changed between obviously then and now, it gets said all the time, is social media.
Yeah.
Social media being the thing that kind of disconnects ourselves, and you guys probably felt it because we were in the generation where when we first started and social media came out, we were all about it. Like, we disconnected from external life when we put ourselves wholly into social media, like a lot of our generation did. But then there was this coming back to, for a lot of us, I know, like, we're not as into social media as we used to. So a lot of us is starting to dial back the amount of social media connections we have and start to crave like external reactions again. Sure. So these kids, I feel, the kids
they're locked in.
Are locked in.
They're all the way
because
in.
that's all they've known.
Yeah.
Is like from day one, so they get that. So now that we're talking about like how to deal with how they're dealing with things in society as far as outside of like the screen and everything, how are they handling the same types of challenges? So it's the same types of challenges, it's just that now they're more aware of suicide. Now they're more aware that this has happened.
They've made their social problems so big and closed.
It is a bigger social problem, so they start attaching themselves to
the inside of this
sickness
wall right
earlier.
Here, better than on the outside.
Right.
Let's just say we're on the outside looking in, and we can tell them about what's going on this wall.
Right.
But so you're right there, then you know the little details, and we can't give them the exact kind of advice that we want.
Or
to.
they think that they're already.
Because our problems are out there.
They think that
so are you
they're
saying
already
too much love and too much?
I think it's too much interpersonal.
Real quick. So the food's here real quick. Hey Nate, you can bring it on in, brother. Just leave the burger over there. Bring the rest of that over here. Thank you, my friend.
Nice.
Let's hold on to that conversation for a second. The food has arrived.
Playboy.
You're right in front of the camera, Playboy. You're good.
This is my deal player.
This is my coworker Nate. All love. Thank you for bringing out our
Thank you,
food.
sir. Appreciate you.
All right, hold on to that thought. So this is the moment when the food arrives. So every episode, what we're gonna do when the food arrives is I'm gonna make everybody kind of give a dedication to what we're gonna eat for here. Let's pass out the plates and shit. Get that all out of the way. So just a dedication. I'll start since this is our first episode. I'd like to dedicate this episode to my brothers here for helping me kind of figure out and go through this process with me. Pilot episode of Thawt for Food. So I'd like to dedicate this meal to brotherhood and love. Ceej?
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Man, the universe has brought me here. My brothers, my kids, my family, co-workers, friends, the city right here, and the current intellect that kind of flows through our bodies right now. So, thank you, universe.
Word up.
Yep.
Thank you again, brother. Appreciate the extension of love.
My pleasure.
Right back. I mean, this dedication is to, I guess to the choices we made, to the
Nice.
that led us to here, to this path that we've come that have been thrust upon us.
Yeah, for sure. I like that.
So yeah, man, to that.
All right, one more cheers before we grub. Cheers. All right, let's dig in. Thank you to the chef down in the basement, Wynkoop Brewery, making sure and the brewers, making sure we got good beer, good food. All my friends in the service industry that I work with, I appreciate y'all for making this happen. Y'all are love, we are lovely.
Yeah, no doubt.
Let's dig in.
And
All
everybody
right,
made this possible, right?
everybody that made this possible, every single body.
I dig it.
So yeah, so we, back on the subject of the kids. Do we have answers? Do we have a way to fix this? Are we even in charge of fixing it, or are we just overreacting ourselves as if
Have
we
we
were to
become
just?
those annoying parents?
That's what I'm saying
trying
too.
to tell them how to live their lives, right?
Right.
Man.
That feels like a lot of it too.
I didn't really
Because
think
it was
about that till just now.
the exact same shit our parents did to us when we were just figuring it out.
Man, they didn't know shit about
They
our
didn't
problems.
know shit about our problems.
Now look at us.
And
outside looking
it's
in.
not, hindsight being what it is, it's hard to recognize that and to realize that in the moment. But after a little bit of self-reflection, even me without kids, and the way that I feel about the generation is like in agreement with the rest of a lot of the generation of my peeps that I talk to. I'm not experienced enough to comment on what it's like to be a parent,
Right.
because I'm not a parent. But as far as my attitude towards y'all's generation,
Well,
your
a lot of your
kids'
peers are
generation,
parents.
right? And
Yeah.
I get to
And
experience
your
it.
Uncle Luke to a lot
I
of those
experience
kids.
it vicariously through you.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? It never even hit me like that. So,
Right.
are we just the parents telling them what to do?
Oh,
But
there you go.
I still feel like they're more boxed in. So social media did get us out there more,
Right.
but like it turned at some point where now they're in that box more than they are out there. So they go through all these emotional internal problems, but without externally solving them together with each other.
Like just relying on the internet's presence and their ability to go seek out whatever emotion they're feeling,
Right.
and attach how they're feeling to the base idea.
How many of these kids
of what
actually
everybody
relate to
else
each other, not because of something they read and they can both like mutually,
Right.
but can they actually get together in front of each other and talk and mutually agree on that? And if they can, excellent. Then we have no business.
Then we are overreacting.
We have no business in any of that.
Then that generation
just-
of kids should be able to figure it out the way we have.
Right. But now it's come to this point where, our generation is now governing that. So even at school, like
Right.
they pulled one of my kids aside and they're worried about him. So they're trying to go through that problem with him. When I guess it should be like our problems. And back in the day, we would get on the bikes with our boys and eventually we would talk about it. I do feel like kids don't do that anymore. Hopefully they'll find a way.
We still do that.
Yeah,
I know we've
we're
had a
doing
lot of
that right now.
conversations. Yeah.
We're doing that right now.
Yeah, we still have these conversations. Are we depriving these kids, or I don't think we're. How do we stoke that fire? How do we let them know that it's okay?
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I try to tell them every time, they can always talk to me, be open. Try to keep that open dialogue.
Did you do that with your mom?
Yeah. Like I was able to. I enjoyed being able to talk to my mom about things that I felt like normal kids couldn't talk to their parents about.
Sure.
Yeah, like the first time I did ecstasy, right? Like I was able to. I called my mom.
Ecstasy.
Yeah, I called my mom.
Word.
And was
Your
like,
mom
Mom,
didn't trip.
Nah, she was like, yo, are you good? Or you're not leaving anywhere, right? And I was like, nah. She was like, call me if you want to come home. I'll come get you. Because at that time, it wasn't that late. It was like 10 o'clock maybe. And
How old were you?
like 17, so I was like old enough to know better.
It's about the same time I tried it, so.
And so but she was like, I called her. I was like, I love you. Like this shit is crazy. I've never felt anything like this in my life. She's like, what do you mean? What do you know? I was like, I was like, I tried ecstasy. She was like, oh my god. Like she got silent for like 2 seconds, and I thought I was in trouble. But then she was like, are you okay? Like somebody got, are you by yourself? Like is everything good? Like she just made sure I was okay. And then she checked on me. It was good. It was good.
Right.
And like we had that up and down. Like there's a time that I got drunk when I was like 15 or 16, knowing I had a curfew. I was like, Mom, I'm too drunk to drive. Can you come get me? She was pissed, but she came and got me. And she like, I thought she was gonna be mad because she didn't say anything.
Yeah.
The whole ride home. But later on that night or the next morning, while she's banging around pots and pans and shit, knowing how. She's like, I want you to know that.
Pay for this.
Yeah, she's like, I want you to know I'm proud of you for making that decision.
She's
to call
passively.
me. But it was like clanking shit around.
How's your head feel?
Yeah.
It feels better if you stop
Thinking
that
you're
shit.
grown, and I'm like, okay, thanks, Mom. And then so I mean, I want that same openness because I enjoyed that,
And
being
see,
able to have that.
Yeah, I get that accepting love. My parents did their damnedest to try to shield me from that, even though they was out there smoking and drinking and doing the most, like and I was always that kid to be proud to make mom and dad happy because they just seemed so angry all the time. So like I wasn't. The last thing I wanted to do was just make them more angry by telling them shit I was doing, like behind the scenes. But I knew I had it. You know what I mean? I knew I didn't need them to like coach me through it because I didn't want to put any more of a burden of being like parents than I had to. They already were dealing with so much. Like if I, the way that I thought about myself, maybe it was a little, as a kid, a little bit too. I got into a lot of trouble thinking that I knew shit, and like later on realized that the message that they were trying to convey to me was something that I could learn a lot easier if I would have listened.
Right.
But at the same time, again, I was very interested in not adding more problems to their already laundry list of issues that they were going through in society. So I'd rather not tell them about the things that I was doing to keep their worry off of me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think a lot of people relate to that. Yeah.
Well, and that's something that y'all are going to have to worry about too as parents because it wasn't. When I eventually came clean and spilled all my guts and knew how much they loved me, when I knew I wasn't going to give them a heart attack by telling them the shit that I did. So it eventually came out.
Yeah, I feel that.
We got to switch cameras real quick.
Yo, how's your food, bro?
It's like the best burger I've ever had.
Do you want any of this while we're switching?
Don't ask. I'll eat everything. Shut up.
We'll get to it after.
No, it's all good. Trust me.
Well, it's still on. It's still on.
battery's
It's
fine?
still on a record. Well, we're still recording
I
volume.
was saying the battery's fine. It just needs in 30-minute increments is when it goes.
Yeah, I hear you.
Mr. Green
We
Chili.
start
or what?
another one now.
That's the fire roasted salsa.
What is that?
Fire roasted salsa.
Oh my god, what am I doing?
So yeah, since this is a pilot episode, you could go ahead and do that. We'll just put a little bit of that. We'll just do some of that sunset that I talked about. You know what I mean? Just in the blank parts to keep the video rolling.
Wow.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
That is
remember
great.
that? You remember that beloved commercial?
I heard that dog just died recently.
Did he? Oh no,
What is
Bush.
that?
Yeah,
Bush's baked beans dog died. Oh no, sad. That's my guy.
Anybody's dog dies.
Yeah, true. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man, Dozer.
I'm more excited about
Dedicate this meal to
dogs.
Doug.
Rapito.
One love.
Shout out all dogs go to heaven.
All dogs go to heaven, period.
Yo, even part 2 was good.
Of all dogs go to heaven? Mm-hmm. I missed that one. So yeah, back to the action plan. Do we have an action plan
For
the kiddos?
I don't think there is such thing.
There isn't, right?
I mean,
we just evolve and
it's
adapt.
to
From a
each
parent-
individual parent.
From a
Yeah.
parent standpoint, you ask any parent, this is throughout history, how did you do it? I didn't plan it, I just went with it. Because you can't plan it. Every day's different. You as a parent, you're always going through different shit.
Right.
You'll never treat your kids the way you always need to because of your own problems. But they got their own shit going on too.
That's
and
what
then
them
their
know.
friends got their shit going on. You know?
I hope I don't fuck them up too much, mainly. You know what I mean? Like,
That's
Like-
a good thing to hope
like-
for, but like, what are you talking about?
because I feel like every parent fucks their kid up some way, somehow, something. There's something that each parent has done to their child to. You're scarred somehow, somewhat,
yeah,
right?
there's some kind of something. I
There's
hear
some
what
kind
you're
of
saying.
emotional damage
What if
there.
you- done to your
'cause
children.
We, I have,
that's what I'm
right? Like, what exactly?
But that's what I'm
talking
like. I don't want that because I know I harbor some kind of like some deep-seated anger for my mom somewhere. You know what I mean?
They're like, Dad, we're not
for me
going
to
to
get mad
bury
at that
another
woman.
body with you again.
You know what I mean? Like, it takes nothing for me to like get mad and then like bring up shit from like '97. Like, yo, there was that one time I wanted to.
Yeah, like you are actually like scarred. Like I just want to talk about it. I want to tell you how I feel because I didn't get a chance to do that.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm now in my mid-30s and I'm like, you know what? Remember that one time I wanted to go see Bad Boys and you wouldn't let me? You know what I mean? Like, it was bullshit, but like, I'm just saying, like, I don't. That's just like minute, obviously, but I do
You're
feel like
you
there
didn't
is
know
some.
that's what led me to try and ecstasy later on.
I don't know.
It's your fault.
Yeah.
Your fault. I
Like,
did
I-
ecstasy and loved it.
For sure. It's her fault. I blame her for trying weed and yeah.
You know what? A lot of my bullshit came from that. Not because of like, in a bad way. Like my mom was so damn proud of raising 3 kids on her own that she painted this impossible picture to everybody else about how her kids were so good in schools, good with sports. They were, you know, Catholic family. We did this, we did that. We were good with music. That we just didn't tell her what we were doing. Like, later on, we didn't tell her.
Until it all came ahead.
And then it all came crashing down with me getting in trouble, with my brother getting in trouble. I don't know, apparently my sister's just never been in trouble up to this fucking point. But still, but
Princess.
Still, yeah, princess. Like, yeah. But anyways,
I mean,
So-
and I'm sure, even in the background, like, you know, as parents, you are proud. That is your little offspring, like, you know. So that is, you know, you do kind of create a standard, and unfortunately, like, it's not based on their own idea of what success is for your child. It's based on what the rest of society thinks is success for your child.
the standard.
So they're trying to set up a standard in which especially for us minority kids, because they already know that it's harder for us to succeed. And luckily, my dad never let those things creep into my head as far as what society offered me, so that it was going to be extra hard for me to do certain things as opposed to other people out there. And it maybe that was a little handcuffing in itself. Like, maybe you shouldn't even tell them the worst of the worst and just make us figure it out on our own. But, like, you know, because that also, you know, that could handcuff a child into thinking that, well, I'm never going to be good enough as well. Why even try or put effort in? But, you know, there has to be a happy medium in between what success looks like
It's got to be an experiment level.
for a parent. You don't have any other choice. It is.
Right.
It is that, because
But-
that's all it is.
But that's
having
not
a
how
kid.
they take it. Apparently his mom did. But they don't take it like, okay, you're trying something, you're not wrong for that, but let me walk you through it. No, there is, you did what? You better come home, blah, blah, blah. I've called you 8,000 times, and you're in
Right.
Utah?
You're in
That's
Utah.
literally happened. Like, one
Was
of the
that
first times I ever got in trouble for
Elizabeth
anything.
Smart? Yeah, Elizabeth,
I was on my way to Salt Lake City to pick up my
Elizabeth
boy.
Smart shit.
I think you told
You
about this
just disappeared
shit.
to
Bro,
Utah.
I left on Christmas Eve because my boy Ivan, shout out Ivan Salazar, went to go pick up his girlfriend, who was in the Air Force at the time, coming home for Christmas. She couldn't make a flight to Denver, so she took a flight to Salt Lake City. Him and I left 1 a.m. in the morning.
Hell yeah.
Christmas Eve, so it was the 23rd. She called. We left 24th, 1 a.m. Didn't answer my phone until like 9 a.m. We were already in Utah, and I got it. I mean, but anyways, he got to see his girlfriend at the time.
How old are you? Did she take your Christmas presents away?
I think this was after high school.
Okay.
I don't remember. Maybe it was like, yeah, after high school.
Gotcha.
Take your Christmas present.
No.
No, I had a girlfriend at that time, so my Christmas present was very negotiated.
Yeah.
Very expensive to me.
So,
Unwrap this Christmas gift, my dude. Let's get
the bells were rocking, and Santa came and
My mom made me go back to each store and take my Christmas presents back 1 year.
Did she?
That is harsh.
She made me like
You talk about experiment. Let's experiment in punishment. Yeah, you take your toys back.
opened them at the store. Like, you could have this. I'm taking this back, please.
Oh goodness.
Oh man.
One by one, she did that shit all through the store, and everybody was in there like,
Yeah.
all the employees were like, oh
Lucky
shit.
social media wasn't around then. 'Cause
Bruh.
that'd have been a video.
Like it literally, if she would have decided to put that on social media,
Girl,
never
like,
recovered.
all my
There have
presents.
been other people recording.
All my presents 1 year, all of them. This could have been
true.
you, like, and talking mad shit while she
True.
was just gas shit while she was doing it. I was like, damn.
Yeah, we definitely got some obscure punishments. And that's just the way it is. Like, it's just passed down from generation to generation.
Yeah.
I got punished for the things that I did that were perceived wrong. You're gonna get punished for the things that I perceive you're doing wrong.
Right, exactly. You don't even know the facts, Mom.
Yeah,
I
you
did
weren't
it,
even
but-
there.
But you don't know why. You don't know.
No, bro. Yep. But no, I mean, did you deserve your presents getting taken away from you, or is
To be honest with you, I don't even remember what it was for.
Yeah, you probably did.
Probably.
Probably turned into a life lesson. So that's good.
I don't even remember what it was for.
Otherwise,
though.
you'd have been like, I didn't learn shit from
All
that.
I remember was the presents going back. I don't know what the fuck I did. So I
Selective
could
memory.
make the same mistake again and be like, fuck, that's what those presents were going for.
Selective memory.
But yeah,
That's called a traumatic experience that you just forgot.
bro, she made me throw away my presents as a kid. I remember my presents, my toys. She was like, you're not cleaning these up, throw them out. And she made me throw these shits out. Like, I remember these shits, and I'm saying, like, that formed the asshole that I am today.
Now you just been taking other people's toys.
That has given me a lot of
Do you do that to your
explanation.
kids?
Nah, I think
You wouldn't do that to your
No,
No, I feel like he already has, because he just said earlier the things I've done to my children.
There's a lot of things to be said too about, I know your mom was young. My mom was young. Like, they're still figuring
grew up
life
together,
out.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're still figuring
There's
life
no
out
handbook to
too.
parenting.
No, yeah, and
If you have a kid at 18, you're just trying to
I've-
fucking make sure they don't die. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. My sister was, my mom was 17.
Yeah.
I've forgiven my parents
when
for
she
all
was
the
18.
things that I thought that they were doing just out of ruthless negativity towards
Right.
me. Like, and
That
I
slammed the
to
door, you
realize,
asshole.
yeah. Like, well, I mean, I slept outside one night just because I came home too late. My dad wasn't having it. I mean, it was a summer night. It's not like it was cold, but he wouldn't let me inside the house because you know what I mean? Like,
I've had to sleep in the garage
But I
before.
get it. Like, I know it
Sleep in
wasn't
my
out
car.
of. I know it wasn't out of hate. They think that they love so hard that it's teaching a lesson.
Yeah.
That it's teaching a lesson. Oh, you want to defy the rules? I pay for this house. You don't contribute, so on and so forth. And I forgive them for it.
Yeah.
It's I get it. Like, they're still figuring life out too, and that's the type of punishment more than likely he had to go through with his father in a much different time, in a much less stable generation than what I was blessed to grow up in than he did. So it's just it's some of those things that get ingrained. Are we capable of changing those things to help our children learn better, or is this all we know is how to punish or how to grow kids the way that it's just been grown? So going back to the beginning of this, because kids are softer, is it because we've learned new methods of punishment? Is it because
It's growth. As my mom says,
Also
because I'm always like, Mom, who the hell is this lady that talks to my kids? She'll sit down. I'm like, what's wrong? You know, let's talk it out. Da, da, da. I'm like, this lady would have kicked me in my fucking chest. Who are you? What'd you do with my mom?
People like Adrian
And
Peterson got ruined for us by having it on video.
And she's like, yo, I had to learn through you. Like, I didn't know there was another way. Like, I was taught through violence as a child, so that's the way I thought I had to choose. You know what I mean? Right. So I got spankings and shit, which I still feel like you should whip your kid's ass. Don't be out here, go to the corner shit. You whip Timmy's ass. Anyway,
don't be paid to whip your kids' ass. They deserve it.
Yeah, nah, whip that ass.
Just be doing that shit
don't UFC him, but you know what I'm saying. But yeah, so like my mom was like, you know, we learned through fear, like we were taught through fear. Right. So that's how I was taught, you know, through you, and then I realized, you know, now there's all these other ways to do so. So that's why I'm nice to your kids and still mean to you. Like, what the shit is this?
No doubt.
And like it's different for me because I still like be suspect of it because I feel I don't know. I just got mom issues, I guess.
Yeah, we all got parents.
I don't think there's an answer to it. We just gotta make sure that they don't crash and burn before they get to when they figure it out themselves.
Like we did. Yeah,
exactly.
At a point you have to. Though.
Dad, I just want to be a safe haven. You know, like you, but I mean, my shit's gonna come with consequences no matter what.
Yeah.
But like, my kids are always gonna be able to run to me because who am I to tell them about doing wrong in life when I've been, behind bars.
But that's why it's hard to do consequences and have them come to you because they're gonna know there's consequences with it, so they're not gonna get. That's the problem. You gotta be able to be there.
I'm not gonna tell them like. Until it actually happens,
Right, like
I'm doing this for you.
I'm not gonna get them afraid to come to me. I'm gonna open the door. They're gonna come to my house and here's son, I love you.
It starts with you being honest.
This is why I love you. But since you decided to do that, this is what's gonna happen, and then I love you.
So, an explanation of why you think this punishment is necessary. Along with what you hope to accomplish by this punishment?
Yeah, but it's also going to be like, let me know what's going on with you, son. Can I help you out?
I'm you're going to have to
relate to you. Like,
so
can we sit down and figure it out? Or just can I be there with you and your boys and you guys decide to be, better men amongst each other? Can I give you resources? Can I introduce you to a different kind of cultures, different arts, different things to fill you up and make you more of a person and let you make those decisions on your own? And then hopefully someday you want to take your pops out to a Broadway show. We grab some memes, some beer, we go watch a Broadway show. We come back to the house or whatever.
How many
hopefully
times
you ain't living with me.
I fully plan on doing shit like that for my mom. Like still, because as much as it was a pain in the ass to grow up under their power and reign, I'm still very grateful for what they've given me. And at some point, everything inside me wants to try to pay that back. To take her to a Broadway play, or to take her on a cruise, on a trip, or to build her house. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I know that. You want to leave your mark on your kids enough for them to at least think about doing something like that for you.
Yeah.
Even though I may never have the means to do it.
Yeah, you never know.
I'm getting those means, baby. Take mom out. We're going on a cruise, mama.
Food for thought starts now.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure. And I see it in y'all.
You just gotta take it as it comes, man.
I'm very proud of y'all. I really am, because I've watched both of you, kind of stare down this whole single father thing, life. Yeah.
Are we failures?
Yeah, but you're not. But it may be even the road ahead is still one that is gonna have you guys fighting because your kids are still very young.
Yeah.
They haven't even reached that age in which a lot of the things we just touched on are actually more impressionable upon their lives, and they aren't as resilient as they are now, and the things start crumbling around them, where y'all are gonna have to be the rocks that, even more so the rock that I've seen from you guys in the past. I'm very proud of the work that y'all are doing.
The good thing about that is we've been able to show our kids a more vulnerable state of who we are. We're taking what's called the alternate route.
Yeah,
right.
I need a woman.
We're taking the off-road, make our
I'm just
own way
kidding.
to get
It's
to
true.
the same destination everybody else is getting to. But along the way, you learn things about yourself, and if there's a passenger along the way, they happen to learn how you went through that, as well as learning, oh shit, there's an alternate path.
Yeah, your
I think
baby's moms too. Absolutely, they've got the
We
exact
ain't
same
talking
pressure.
about other people right here.
Yeah,
I don't, you know.
I hear you.
Love them to death.
the exact same pressure.
That's all I gotta say.
I mean, it becomes a different dynamic in which y'all have to learn how to coexist apart from each other and still raise active human beings.
Yeah.
Shout out Nacho Libre.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
That's her. That's my. That's the ex's picture on her phone when she calls me.
Nacho Libre,
It's
she knows?
Nacho- Yeah, she knows.
Does she know?
Yeah, I'm Ice Cube on hers.
She who shall not be spoken.
Pretty much.
I'm telling you,
Shout out
guys,
Stephanie.
your
Just
Bitmoji
Voldemort.
that you've been using for years. You need to at least make one video,
Of
one
what?
music video
With your
using your
Bitmoji?
Bitmoji rapping or something.
Yeah.
Or start printing out those stickers and hit a Bitmoji and
Yeah,
see
so
if
let's-
you can get some kind of sponsorship with it.
Let's talk about that before we close this show. Let's talk about like the inspirations that you guys feel, or what in your life has inspired you to become the artist that you are. We'll start with you, Ceej. When did you kind of figure out that being an MC was something you were interested in?
Man, I mean, that happened a long time ago, though.
Right.
Like, I knew I wanted to rap first grade, something like that, but I didn't get into rapping. I got into breakdancing. Even to this day, one of my best or longest standing friends, his name is Steven Garcia. I know we're not saying names or whatnot, but he was one of my b-boy guys. He was in 5th grade, put me in talent show 3rd grade. When I was in 3rd grade, put me in talent show with him. And that was kind of my doorstep to hip hop. But before that, I had a little karaoke box, with the tape deck player, and you recorded it. You could record over yourself, you talk. I had that forever. I just ain't never, exposed it to anybody. But eventually you start rapping and stuff. You start by rapping other people's lyrics at school and stuff.
Talk
and then you get into that. And, I made my first full-length album when I was 13, and then kind of just been going since then. And where I'm at right now, fast forward, 21 years, 20 years later. 20 years later, because I say, anyways, it's
You're
been a long time,
43?
right? Yeah, 8th grade.
Oh,
let's
yeah,
say third
my
grade,
math.
third grade.
Yeah, so
Third grade
13
was
is like 8th grade.
Third grade is when I did the hip hop dance.
So that's like-
the break dance. That's
okay.
5th grade.
That's
5 years old, right?
5, 8,
8
yeah,
years
8
old.
years old.
8 years old. I'm 31 now. 23 years later.
Yeah.
I don't really have particular influences in the hip hop game. My influences are kind of just like, where am I going with life at this point?
Life
So
is your
I'm not
influence.
really led on by any other, anybody else's work right now, other than, am I going to do this HVAC career? Am I going to go
Right.
take hip hop on? Am I going to do both? How am I going to keep it all together with the kids? Do I want to go on a tour and leave the kids ever? I mean, that's stuff I don't, say to you guys. That's very
No,
real
that's real
stuff.
shit.
And
I
that'll
get it.
deter my energy even for the night. When I'm at home, like, I'm gonna write a song, but then I'm like, I should probably study what I got going on at work.
Right.
So I'm
That's-
kind
that's,
of lost in transition right now with hip hop. To be honest with you.
I hear you. Yeah, no, I hear you. And I've known that, being your rap buddy for such a long time.
Rap buddy.
And that is I think every artist, nobody has ever just got it. Like, nobody, in my opinion, as artists, has just like woke up one day and is like, damn, I'm an artist. Like, I ain't gotta worry about everything else that's going on in my life. I'm just gonna produce art. Like, I think this, even I had a trial road before I started focusing on my last project, where I wasn't focusing on anything other than just living life in a pretty irrational way, in my own opinion. Just doing the most. I loved it. It was great, but it's a period of my life in which I could have been using to make art, and it's nice to recognize that. Maybe someday get back to it. But nice to always know that you have it inside of you. That energy always exists inside of you. You know what I mean?
It's always going to.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And
What about for you?
I've always, before I get in that real quick, I always, coming up, always going to shows. Like that was one of my biggest things always from a teenager when I was old enough to do it by myself, to drive. Like I always try to go to, I always go to underground shows, and I always ask the artists like 3 things, like, when did you know that you were gonna quit your job and just do this shit like full time? How did you deal with having kids?
Right.
And then like what's touring like? You know what I mean? Like I'd always throw like a third like curveball question in there, but like I always ask them 3 things, and all of them always said the same thing. Like Mac Lethal, Fontaine, Immortal Technique, like all these cats, Poison Pain, like they would all say the same shit. Ceejay Franchize, they were just like, I didn't. Like I just took it was like a leap of faith. I just did that shit. I was like, I just knew one day that this shit that I was doing just wasn't for me. So, I don't know what's his name? Pooh, that rapper Big Pooh. Shout out rapper Big Pooh. He was like, I wasn't stocking shit no more. He was like, he was working at a grocery store or whatever. He was like, I'm not stocking shit. This is not me. This is not my life. This is not what I'm destined to do. This is not what I was put here for.
Right.
And they just went like 110% into it. And
So that's what it is.
yeah, it's like, so that's you know, I don't know, it's a leap of faith. But like for me,
So once you so to further that point, so like once you stop bullshitting around with yourself, not to say that what you're going through is bullshit, because that's some real life issue shit.
right.
Trying to figure it out.
But I see what you mean. Once you figure it all out, yeah.
There's a moment that clicks. Like this is it for me. Like this is I'm living a secondary purpose to what my main purpose is, and it's just gotta stop. Something's gotta change.
Absolutely.
That's what
Something's got to fucking give here, and that's
Right.
you know, that's that turning point. I think you know,
Right.
when I reached that. But for me though, I've always been like, it started out. I was a thespian first, like doing stage work, acting. So that's where that, I guess, entertainment came from. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just doing stage work, acting, doing plays,
You were-
improv, all that
Let's
shit.
be honest. It was acting
Let's
that really
be
got
honest,
you.
right?
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Oh wait, yeah, that works. So that fast forward to like, I'd say 7th, 8th grade, I got into poetry.
Nice.
Started writing poets, like just reading more about poets. You know what I mean? Frost and
Did you guys have read it out loud too?
yeah, we'd have to like
Write yours.
we'd have to do
beginning of the class.
right. We have to learn
First
about
15 minutes of the
haikus and all that
class.
shit.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
we
that's
had to do, and that was probably the most raw form, like nerve wracking.
Creative
Yeah,
writing.
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Because there were some that were really good. Some like mine was like, I felt like it was dog shit. And then
That's normal.
and then,
That's
like,
a normal part of the process.
right,
Yeah.
and then like fast forward to high school, I'm in the hotbox session with the fellas, freestyling, you know, to Mobb Deep beats and shit, and like getting clowned in the cypher. I never stopped. I was always in the cypher, always. When it was my turn, I jumped in, but I got clowned so hard every time. But I
Taking a
loved
couple
it.
of those L's.
Oh, I loved. Oh, I took. Oh my god, like pretty much all through high school, I took nothing but L's. G, like it was. I didn't get good at freestyling, like get like attain it or get a grasp of it until after high school. So I was like 19, and then I was actually going to parties and like getting into circles with cats that were legit and like just trying to come at them or like whatever the case, you know. So
I didn't get it till like 3 years ago.
bro, like it was like it's like
I'm
a legit
31.
it's like a legit thing. Like it's like for real verbal calisthenics, you got to work that shit out.
Yeah.
And so like I had, you know, I was always rapping, always writing, but I never did anything with it. I always loved hip hop. So always been a big hip hop head. I had life happen, had kids, you know, all that shit, and I wanted to do it then, but the ex was like, oh, we can't do that right now. Then that shit dismantled, fell apart. Like I lost my mind for a minute. Like for real, like I lost my goddamn mind for a minute, and then like hip hop saved me. Like I quit doing everything else. I quit drinking, smoking, all that. All I did was smoke cigarettes and drink like mad Gatorades and Red Bulls because they were like 2 for $3, and I was doing like day labor shit or whatever. But I was like writing like mad tracks.
Hey, sir.
Oh, thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Very well.
Writing mad tracks, and then going to everything hip hop because I was basically homeless at the time. So I was going to going to hip hop venues or events because they were usually at bars or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd get there like mad early and babysit a beer for like hours and just wait for that shit to start. And I'm already in there, so they can't charge me. I'm like, yep. I wait for that shit to go, and then like I'm in there, and then I'm just rapping my ass off, like anything I could do, anywhere I could touch a mic, I was in there.
Wow.
Met P Docs and them, like I got a job randomly. I got a job at this warehouse. Met P, and then started doing shit. And we came up with that first album. That's when I met you outside that venue. And a cipher. We was just ciphering, and yeah, and it's been. I didn't start taking it seriously until I lost everything. Like it's always been a thing for me, but until I had nothing, that became my everything.
Yeah.
And it's still persistent and still something that I cherish.
Well, yeah, no doubt. And I definitely, it's to comment on like the way that you go about kind of just bringing things into your life. You know what I mean? Like the fact that you had started showing up at venues, and then one thing led to another. All of a sudden, you're working with somebody who is a producer, and you guys are making songs.
Brilliant producer, by the way.
Yeah, no doubt. P-Docs, shout out P-Docs. Patio Poppy, aka Patio Poppy, more recently. But then the next thing happens, and all of a sudden you and I are rapping outside of Cervantes, and then the next thing happens, and we're living together, and we're
fast forward years later, we're roommates.
5 years later, we're roommates now. Like and that's just the way. You dedicated your dinner to the universe. Mm-hmm. That's the way the universe works. I mean,
comes right back around.
Yeah, you put yourself in those kind of positions.
It's choices, man. It's choices
make
that you
those
make.
Things happen for sure.
One thing to the next. Like it was I always think about it. I was recently writing a new track about it. Just about the paradox of choice. You know what I mean? Like what choices that were made that ultimately, that's that. Yeah, new album coming, by the way. Stay tuned. But no, it's like that new shit. Like it's just the things that led to where I'm at now. When I had a life in the military. I was damn near. I was married for a minute. Like this shit was a whole different life for me.
Yeah, for sure.
10 years ago. You know what I mean? And now like here I am. Fast forward, life changes. Came at me real quick, and here I am. Here it is.
Okay.
So I'm grateful for it. It's a hell of a battle at times, but I wouldn't change it for shit. Yeah, but man, let me tell you, like the road to get here was wild.
Yeah, no, but that's the if you didn't have that road, what content would you actually have to put out there?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just surface
it's
shit.
Alternate route.
Yeah, well, it's about. I mean, and I think as artists, like if you think about it, this cycle is about living a certain way, living a certain type of life, letting that shit accumulate inside of you as content, and then upon periods of reflection, being able to take everything that you buried inside of yourself, and then in our medium, we put it out all in paper, and it may look obscure to somebody else, but when we look at it, we know exactly what that came from. You know exactly where the lyric or that particular little line inside of a lyric, what experience you drew off of in order to write that one
Even
lyric.
just that little piece of energy, like that went back 17 years ago to that one night.
Yeah, it
And
definitely could.
Just the emphasis, the way that I just said that, I was living in there for that moment, so that's why. I don't even know if you guys can tell. That's why I turn the lights off when I record.
Sure.
Because it's like a blank.
It's like a movie screen for you, right?
Yeah, it's just my blank,
your canvas,
my canvas. So,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, it's funny you say that about, being able to rap better. When I was younger, and I'd get into ciphers. It's like the shit just flew off top of the head. I was much better at cipher rapping and just freestyling.
When you were a kid?
When I was fresh, right in high school, when motherfucking Eminem was battling Juice and shit.
No
like,
doubt, yeah.
because that's what I wanted was to do that shit. Was to do that fully. But yeah, no, that was.
Yeah, I wanted to go to Scribble Jam real bad.
Yeah.
I was right in my way. And people was going, nigga, please, like you suck.
So, I mean, was that you didn't answer your own question.
And because it's my show, I don't intend to. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
I was under the impression this was a hybrid thing.
I hear you. I want to share the platform with everybody that, obviously. All right, so I'll answer the question. My inspiration, I had a very similar thing to you where I was the center of attention. I could sing really well when I was in elementary, and I would, crack jokes and kind of sing and make people laugh. One thing led to another. In middle school, where I got really good at mimicking other artists, raps, and so on and so forth. I took up creative writing because that was something that, again, just led me into the path.
Yep.
And once creative writing started taking off for me, I started to put two and two together, where I would take my cadences that I would learn from rapping with other people's cadences and would turn it into me actually doing my own songs with my creative writing. Right. Some of it was bad poetry, some of it was really good hip-hop lyrics. But ultimately, I think that's, again, you kind of, if you can grab a hold of it and look at what you were good at when you were younger, you could turn those things into passions that actually you pursue. And that's what, for me, made the most sense, is if I really liked rapping other people's verses and I really liked creative writing, why not put both of those things together and pursue it?
Right.
I really love entertaining, being the center of attention. That's something, I have tapes of myself when I was like 2, and my mom was recording me singing Easy Like Sunday Morning on her old fucking tape player.
You're known for that. Like I've literally walked over here, since when I used to work across the street, and I could hear you singing outside.
Yeah.
Like 3 blocks away with 1,000 people between us. That's my man.
All right, gentlemen. I think that's good. This is a successful little first part of Thawt for Food. One more time on the cheers, my G's, Ceejay Franchize, Adrian NME. I'm Luke Skyy. This has been Thawt for Food. Thank you very much for tuning in. Stay tuned for the leftovers. Peace.
Hip hop.
That's nice.